Have you ever stood in the kitchen, looking at your plate, and thought, why does food affect me differently now than it did 20 years ago? Maybe your go-to breakfast suddenly leaves you feeling sluggish instead of energized. Or perhaps you're noticing that you gain weight more easily, even though your diet hasn't changed much. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and it's not your imagination. As we age, our bodies change in subtle but powerful ways, and those changes influence how we process, absorb, and respond to the food we eat. And here's the good news. Once we understand those changes, we can adjust how we nourish ourselves to feel better, stay stronger, and enjoy life more fully. Now, I know that the word nutrition can sometimes bring up images of complicated meal plans or endless lists of what not to eat. But that's not what we're doing here. This isn't about restriction or guilt. It's about clarity, confidence, and making choices that actually work for your body as it is today. And that body, by the way, is still capable of thriving. So in this video series, we're going to talk about what really happens to your nutritional needs as you get older. We'll dive into the science, yes, but in a way that's totally understandable. We'll talk about real foods, real challenges, and real solutions. Whether you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or beyond, this is for you. We'll cover things like why metabolism slows down and how to work with it instead of against it, the nutrients that become more important as you age, and the ones that might not matter as much anymore, how hydration, digestion, and even appetite shift with age, and the simple, doable changes that can make a big difference. Before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. So let's begin with something that almost everyone notices at some point, a slower metabolism. If it feels like your body doesn't burn calories the way it used to, you're absolutely right. According to research published in Science in 2021, metabolic rate, the amount of energy your body burns at rest, actually remains fairly stable from your 20s to your 50s. But after that, it begins to decline by about 0.7% per year. That might not sound like much, but over the course of a decade or two, it adds up. Your body simply needs fewer calories than it used to. Now, this doesn't mean you should eat less across the board, but it does mean we need to be a bit more intentional about what those calories are made of. Here's the thing. Your body still needs high-quality fuel, especially protein, fiber, healthy fats, and vitamins. It just needs less empty fuel, things like refined carbs or sugary snacks that spike your blood sugar but don't provide lasting energy. I have a friend named Susan who turned 68 last year. She told me she always used to eat a bagel with cream cheese and coffee for breakfast. It was her comfort routine, but lately, she'd feel tired just an hour or two later. After talking with her doctor and doing a little experimenting, she swapped the bagel for some Greek yogurt, berries, and a handful of walnuts. It still felt like a treat, but it also gave her the energy she needed to make it through her morning walk and a round of errands. It's not about giving things up, it's about upgrading your meals to support your new needs. And one of those key needs is protein. As we age, we lose muscle mass naturally, a condition called sarcopenia. It starts as early as your 40s and accelerates with time, especially if you're not actively working to maintain it. Muscle isn't just about strength, it affects balance, metabolism, and even your immune function. The recommended daily allowance for protein is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, but many experts now suggest that older adults may benefit from more, closer to 1.2 grams per kilogram, especially if you're active or recovering from illness. Now I get it. When you hear protein, you might immediately think of big steaks or chicken breasts. But there are so many gentle, delicious ways to add more to your day, like eggs, lentils, tofu, cottage cheese, or even a scoop of protein powder in a smoothie. It doesn't have to be complicated. Another nutrient that deserves more attention as you age is calcium, and its sidekick, vitamin D. Your bones become more vulnerable to loss over time, and without enough of these two, the risk of fractures and osteoporosis increases. And guess what? Many people aren't getting enough, especially vitamin D. It's harder for your skin to synthesize it from sunlight as you get older, and unless you're regularly eating fatty fish or fortified foods, you might fall short. That's something to bring up with your healthcare provider, testing your vitamin D levels, and seeing whether a supplement could help. Again, small steps, big impact. And we can't forget fiber, which plays a huge role in digestion, blood sugar regulation, and even heart health. Constipation becomes more common with age, partly due to slower digestion and decreased physical activity. Adding fiber-rich foods like vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains can help keep things moving, literally and figuratively. Now, if all this sounds like a lot, take a breath. No one's asking you to overhaul your diet overnight. Think of it like tuning an instrument. You're not changing the music, you're just making sure it plays in harmony with the stage of life you're in. And here's what I love most about this journey. It's never too late to start. The body is incredibly adaptable. Even small changes, like adding an extra serving of vegetables to dinner or drinking a glass of water before your morning coffee, can begin to shift things in the right direction. In the next part of this series, we're going to talk about something many people overlook: how your body's ability to absorb and process nutrients actually changes as you age, and what that means for your overall health. We'll also talk about hydration, appetite, and the surprising connection between nutrition and mental clarity. So stick with me, because this is where it starts to get really interesting. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only, and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Now let's get back to where we left off: how the body changes in the way it absorbs and processes nutrients as we age. One of the most fascinating things about getting older is realizing just how efficient the body was in its younger years. In our 20s and 30s, most of us could eat a decent variety of foods and still get the nutrients we needed. But as the years go by, the body becomes a little less efficient at extracting what it needs, especially when it comes to certain vitamins and minerals. Take vitamin B12, for example. It's crucial for brain function, red blood cell formation, and nerve health. But here's the thing: your stomach needs a special protein called intrinsic factor to absorb B12 properly. As you age, your body naturally produces less of that protein. So even if you're eating enough B12, you might not be absorbing enough of it. This can lead to symptoms that are easy to dismiss, like fatigue, memory issues, or tingling in the hands and feet. I remember talking to a gentleman in his early 70s who thought he was just getting older. It turned out he had a B12 deficiency, and once he started taking a supplement under his doctor's guidance, his energy and clarity came back within a few weeks. The same goes for iron, magnesium, and zinc, nutrients that play vital roles in everything from immune support to muscle function. And when you combine decreased absorption with the fact that older adults sometimes eat less overall, the risk of deficiency goes up. That's why nutrient density matters so much more now than it used to. Think of it like this: if your body is absorbing less from each bite, then each bite should count for more. That doesn't mean eating perfectly. It just means being more intentional about what goes on your plate. Swapping white rice for quinoa, for example, adds more fiber and minerals without a dramatic change in taste or effort. Choosing a snack of hummus and veggies instead of chips, another win. It's all about upgrading the basics. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention: hydration. You might be surprised to know that as we age, our sense of thirst actually becomes less reliable. That's right, you could be slightly dehydrated and not even feel it. This can affect everything from digestion to energy to cognitive function. Mild dehydration has even been linked to increased confusion and fatigue in older adults. It's sneaky but manageable. A good rule of thumb: try to drink small amounts of water consistently throughout the day, rather than gulping down a big glass all at once. Herbal teas, broths, water-rich fruits like watermelon or oranges, these all count toward your hydration. And if you're someone who forgets to drink, set a gentle reminder on your phone or keep a water bottle within sight. Another surprising shift? Appetite. Many older adults report not feeling as hungry as they once did. Sometimes it's due to changes in taste or smell. Other times it's linked to medications, health conditions, or even loneliness. Yes, Our emotional state plays a huge role in how we eat. I once met a woman named Ellen at a community center. She was 75, lived alone, and admitted she'd often just skipped dinner altogether because cooking for one felt like a chore. But after joining a weekly group meal program, not only did her eating improve, so did her mood and energy. There's something powerful about eating with others, even if it's just sharing a lunch with a neighbor or video chatting during mealtime. Nutrition isn't just about the food, it's about the whole experience around food. Are you enjoying it? Are you eating in a relaxed state? Are you connecting with others? These are often overlooked but incredibly important questions. Let's also talk briefly about gut health, because it's a hot topic for good reason. Your digestive system changes with age. Production of digestive enzymes can decrease. The balance of gut bacteria may shift, and that can affect everything from nutrient absorption to inflammation to immune function. Including fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi can help support a healthier gut. And don't forget about prebiotics. These are the fibers that feed your good gut bacteria. Foods like garlic, onions, bananas, and oats are all great sources. Again, nothing extreme, just small additions that work with your body, not against it. And speaking of working with your body, this is also a time when listening to your body's cues becomes even more important. If something doesn't sit well anymore, like dairy or gluten-heavy foods, it might not be in your head. Intolerances can develop over time. Pay attention. Keep a little food journal if you're unsure. You don't have to cut anything out unless it's really bothering you, but noticing patterns can be incredibly empowering. Before we wrap up this section, let me say this. You are not behind if you're just now starting to think about nutrition. You haven't missed your chance. In fact, there's something really beautiful about embracing nourishment at this stage of life, because now it's not about trends or fads. It's about feeling good, staying strong, and honoring the life you've built. In the next part of this series, we're going to dig into some of the common challenges people face when trying to eat healthier as they age, like limited mobility, tight budgets, or conflicting advice, and how to overcome them with simple, realistic strategies. We'll also talk about how nutrition connects to your emotional health, and how food can become a source of comfort, joy, and strength again. So don't go anywhere. The best is still to come. Before we dive in, if you've been finding this helpful so far, don't forget to comment why below and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps keep this channel going and growing. Now let's talk about some of the real-world challenges that can get in the way of eating well as we age. I know it's not always as simple as just choosing healthier foods. Life throws curveballs. Limited mobility, tight budgets, changing taste buds, or sometimes just feeling overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition advice. One of the biggest hurdles many people face is shopping and cooking for one or two. When you're not feeding a family anymore, it's easy to feel like buying fresh ingredients or cooking a full meal isn't worth the effort. But there are ways around this. Think about batch cooking or prepping ingredients ahead of time to mix and match through the week. I have a neighbor, Joan, who swears by her freezer meals. She spends a couple hours on Sunday making soups, stews, or casseroles, then freezes them in portions. When she's tired or busy, she just reheats, and it feels like a homemade meal every time. If mobility is an issue, don't hesitate to explore local resources. Many communities offer grocery delivery, meal kits designed for seniors, or even hot meal programs that bring balanced food right to your door. Using these services isn't a sign of weakness, it's smart, practical self-care. Money can also feel like a barrier, but good nutrition doesn't have to break the bank. Simple staples like beans, frozen vegetables, oats, and eggs provide great nutrition without a hefty price tag. Sometimes it's about shifting your shopping habits, buying in bulk, choosing seasonal produce or shopping sales, and being creative in the kitchen. I once saw a lady turn a simple baked sweet potato into a feast with just a few pantry staples like canned beans, a little cheese, and some fresh herbs. Nourishing and budget-friendly. Now, beyond practical obstacles, there's also a mindset shift that's crucial. Letting go of guilt and perfectionism. Maybe you grew up hearing, "You are what you eat," and took that literally, feeling like any indulgence was a failure. But the truth is, nutrition is a lifelong journey, not a quick fix. Think about it this way. The goal isn't perfect meals every day. It's making more good choices than not, consistently over time. It's about progress, not perfection. And if you've ever felt discouraged because your favorite foods seem off limits, now, I want you to know this: there's always room for joy in eating. Finding healthier versions of your favorites, experimenting with new recipes, or simply savoring the taste of fresh, whole foods can rekindle that love for nourishment. I remember a woman named Linda who loved sweets but struggled with blood sugar issues. Instead of cutting desserts cold turkey, she started making fruit-based treats sweetened with a touch of honey or maple syrup. It gave her the sweetness she craved without the sugar crash. Small changes, big wins. Let's also touch on how nutrition ties into emotional health. Eating well isn't just about physical fuel. It's about feeling emotionally balanced, too. Nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds, support brain health and mood. B vitamins help with energy and stress management. When your body feels nourished, your mind often follows. So if you're noticing mood swings, low energy, or feeling foggy, take a moment to look at your diet, not as a source of blame, but as a tool to support your well-being. Another habit that pays off enormously is staying active. Exercise not only helps maintain muscle mass, but it also stimulates appetite and improves digestion. Even gentle activities like walking, stretching, or yoga can boost your nutritional needs in a good way, making food fuel you better. And finally, embrace the power of routine and mindfulness around meals. Eating at regular times helps regulate digestion and blood sugar. Sitting down without distractions, no screens, just you and your food, can improve digestion and help you truly enjoy your meals. It's a small but mighty habit that supports your entire nutritional journey. At the heart of it all is this: nutrition as you age is not about restriction or deprivation. It's about honoring your body, nurturing your spirit, and celebrating the wisdom that comes with experience. In the next and final part of this series, we'll bring it all together with a recap and some simple, practical steps you can start today. We'll look at how these ideas fit into everyday life and finish with a powerful scientific insight that reminds us just how capable our bodies are, even as we age. Hang in there, you're doing something wonderful for yourself. We've come a long way together in this journey, haven't we? I want to take a moment to look back at everything we've talked about, because sometimes the most powerful changes come from simply remembering what's important and taking small steps forward. So here's what we've learned. As we age, our bodies don't process nutrients the same way they used to. That's why focusing on nutrient-dense foods becomes so crucial, and why things like vitamin B12, hydration, and gut health deserve our attention. We talked about how simple habits like drinking water consistently, including fermented foods, and paying attention to appetite and digestion can make a world of difference. We also explored the real-life challenges, whether it's cooking for one, budgeting, or juggling conflicting advice, and how with a little creativity and kindness toward yourself, these hurdles can be turned into manageable parts of your daily routine. Most importantly, we saw that nutrition is not just about the body, but also about the mind and heart, how what we eat can support emotional well-being, boost mood, and keep us energized. If there's one big idea I want you to take away, it's this: nourishing yourself as you age isn't about perfection. It's about respect for your body's needs, curiosity to try new things, and patience to grow into healthier habits at your own pace. Here's a small step you can try today. Pick one meal or snack, and think about how you might make it just a little more nutrient-packed. Maybe add a handful of nuts to your yogurt, swap out white bread for whole grain, or try a new veggie you haven't cooked before. Those tiny changes add up, and they're completely doable. I want to leave you with a quote from Dr. Walter Willett, a leading nutrition researcher from Harvard. Eating well is a form of self-respect. And that's exactly what this is: respecting your life, your body, and your future self. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age.